Goalies, specifically hockey goalies, you need to be a lot of things. Poised, brave, and half out of your freaking skull. Growing up watching TV, I wanted to be Felix Potvin until I stopped a puck. And I thought, oh no, it's fine, I'll just watch, I'll make YouTube videos about hockey instead. It hasn't been invented yet, but it will be soon. Having a good goalie on your hockey team is key. Having two good goalies, or at very least one good goalie and one pretty decent one, is very helpful. I jumped into a conversation on Twitter talking about the Dallas Stars. They are hurting for goaltending. They have Kari Lehtinen as their starter, who I think is somewhat of an underrated goalie, but he is having a bad season so far. And then they have Anders Lindback, who since leaving Nashville, wow. I mean, Tampa went from Vezina nominated starting goaltending to, oh boy. And the guy they have behind him is Jussi Runas. You want to know where I know that name from? I remember him as the backup for the Toronto Marlies. So while it's very good to have a steady starting goaltender, I don't think it's smart to put all your eggs into one goalie basket. Let's look back at a few times in recent memory where having two good goalies really paid off. Let's go all the way back in time to last season. Jonathan Quick, who wasn't actually having the greatest start to the season for the LA Kings last season, goes down. Ben Scrivens had a .931 save percentage. Martin Jones had a .934. You could argue that, hey, any goalie could do fine on the Kings. And yeah, you might be right, but I don't think they're doing .930 and up fine. Jonathan Quick only played in 49 games last season, so yeah, they were a little important. But that's not a very extreme example because the Kings were able to ride on with Jonathan Quick all throughout the playoffs, winning the Stanley Cup. Then we go back to 2010. Cristobal Huet and the rising Chicago Blackhawks. A young and exciting Patrick Kane, a young and exciting Jonathan Toews. This team is going places. And the puck is going in their net consistently, like a lot. In 48 games that season, Huet had an .895 save percentage, which is... Ça va bien? No, ça va mal. I think that's how you say it. I didn't do well in French. The starting job goes to Antti Niemi. Niemi steps in with a .912 save percentage in the regular season and a .910 in the playoffs. Now you can put down your eyebrow because believe me, I know those numbers aren't great. And Niemi wasn't exactly a showstopper, but he wasn't a sieve either, and that's what the Chicago Blackhawks needed. That's what a backup is. Probably not as good as your starter. I mean, there's a reason your starter is your starter. But not so cataclysmically bad that when your starter gets hurt, you're screwed. They gotta be able to jump in and at least be adequate. That's what Niemi was for Chicago. The drought is over. The Hawks win the cup. Then we go to 2007. Some of you young whippersnappers might be looking at Ilya Bryzgalov. You look at the buyout. You look at how he keeps getting contracts and people go, how does that happen? Easy. He used to be pretty good. And when people think of J.S. Jaguar in the playoffs, they think of the 2003 run when he won the Conn Smythe. They didn't win the cup that year. Some people confuse it. They won the cup in 2007. And he was very good in 2007. But he wasn't always there in 2007. A lot of people forget that in the first 3 games of the playoffs, Anaheim had to rely on Ilya Bryzgalov. I mean, they played the Minnesota Wild in the first round. They beat them in 5 games. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Everyone thinks it was that easy, right? Bryzgalov allowed just 4 goals in the first 3 games of that series for the Ducks. And each of those first 3 games were decided by 1 goal. Sure, Bryzgalov was replaced with J.S. Jaguar in Game 4, but he did his job until J.S. was ready to come back. Bryzgalov didn't go winning any MVP trophies or anything, but the Ducks were glad they had him. Although, 2006, which was a while ago now, only 2 goalies played games for the Carolina Hurricanes in 2005-2006. Martin Gerber, their starting goaltender, and 21-year-old Cam Ward. 21-year-old goaltender in the NHL. Ooh. But losing to the Montreal Canadiens in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Carolina Hurricanes say, screw this, we're putting the kid in. Well, Ward had a rocky start to his career, only an .882 save percentage that season in just 28 appearances. Gerber played in 60 games, if you can believe it. Now, I don't know if you can give the Hurricanes too much credit because I don't think they thought Ward would be that good. But he completely turned the Hurricanes playoff run around with a .920 save percentage and a playoff performance that earned him the Conn Smythe Trophy as the playoff MVP. You don't necessarily need a backup goalie who is just unbelievable and will stop everything. But you definitely don't need a backup goalie where when you put him in, you go, oh god. So in the same way, when your star winger goes down, you don't want him being replaced by some plug. You don't want your brick wall being replaced by a piece of Swiss cheese. Help me out. Am I forgetting any performances? Leave a comment below.